First up, Maria. She's working at this fast-paced, chill tech startup. You know the vibe: open office, free coffee, beanbags. Everything seems great. But then her manager starts making these comments. Like, "Guess we hired you for your looks, huh?" At first, she laughs it off. She doesn't want to be that person who can't take a joke. But it keeps happening. Then the late-night calls start. Urgent work stuff, but clearly crossing a line. Maria finally goes to HR, and this time, they actually take action. That manager gets held accountable. Next, meet Jason. He's in sales. Pretty normal job. But he notices something shady. One of his teammates is tweaking contract numbers to hit their target. Everyone kind of knows. No one says anything. Jason decides, nope, not letting this slide. He reports it through the anonymous hotline. Fast forward 3 weeks, boom, internal audit. Turns out the guy had been faking it for months. Company was bleeding money and no one caught it. Until Jason stepped up. Because he spoke up, the fraud stopped. The system got fixed. And last, meet Alex. He's a junior designer, first real job. One day, he gets accidentally added to a group chat. And what he sees? Well, it's bad. The creative director is mocking another coworker, someone with a disability. Not banter, straight up bullying. Alex takes screenshots, sends them to HR. Quiet, no fuss, and by the end of the week, that creative director is out. HR didn't just brush it off. They acted. So pause. Let's zoom out for a second and ask the real question. What do these 3 stories have in common? In every single one, someone saw something that wasn't right. They could have brushed it off. They could have said, not my problem. They could have kept their head down, done their job, and stayed out of it. But they didn't. They made a choice. Yes, they made a choice to speak up. And that's what whistleblowing actually is. Yes, whistleblowing. Now, I know that word sounds intense. A lot of people hear whistleblower and immediately picture spy thrillers, courtroom battles, people going to the media with secrets. But honestly, in the real world, it's usually way simpler. Whistleblowing is just raising a red flag when something feels wrong. It means speaking up about issues that could harm people, the company, or its values. This could include harassment, like inappropriate comments or behavior. Fraud, such as falsifying records or stealing company funds. Bullying, including threats, intimidation, or exclusion. Discrimination based on race, gender, religion, disability, etc. And unsafe practices like ignoring safety protocols or using faulty equipment. But it's not just the big, obvious stuff. You can also report subtle or suspicious behavior that doesn't sit right. For example, a manager consistently promoting only their close friends. An employee accessing data they shouldn't have. A vendor pushing for side deals off the books. Pressure to manipulate numbers to make that report look better. Colleagues being told to keep quiet about policy violations. Even if you're not sure it's a serious issue, trust your instincts. I may not have included everything here, but if you know something feels off, if your gut tells you it's not right, that's a red flag. That's whistleblowing, or whatever you want to call it. The point is, if it doesn't sit well with you, say something. Now, saying something doesn't always look the same. Sometimes it's formal. You file a report with HR or through an anonymous hotline. Other times it's as simple as asking your boss, "Hey, are we sure this is okay?" Sometimes you put your name on it, sometimes you don't. But what's important to understand is this: it's about choosing to say something. when staying silent would be easier. Because if Maria had stayed quiet, if Jason had looked the other way, if Alex had shrugged it off, would any of that change have happened? Well, you know the answer. Nothing changes if no one speaks up. So, if you've ever watched something go down and thought, that's not right, felt that little gut flip but convinced yourself to stay quiet, or said later, I wish I'd spoken up, then don't scroll past this. This isn't just another video. This is your moment. This is your wake-up call. And now, I want to hear from you. So go ahead and drop your story in the comments. Even if it's just one line. Even if you have to keep it vague. Even if you're still scared. Because if you can write it here, if you can say it out loud, even in a comment, then maybe you can say it when it really counts. At work, in a meeting, in the moment that matters. Now, if this message hits home, if something in you is saying, I need to know how to do this right, then we've created something just for you. This video is part of our whistleblowing training course, where we go deeper into how to speak up safely, effectively, and confidently, no matter your role. You'll find the full course link in the description below. Give it a look. It could be the next step in finding your voice and using it when it matters most.